What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a completely random movie, but at random for a good reason. I've been doing a lot of videos recently on Oscar nominated films, working on getting caught up on films nominated for Academy Awards, and I needed a break. I wanted to just watch something random and something completely different genre wise. And I love horror movies, and I also love found footage mockumentary style films. And this movie I've seen a lot of positive reviews for. And if you've paid attention to my channel for a while, I watch a lot of this style of film because there's something really great about a genre of film that exists where if you don't have a multi-million dollar budget, if you don't have a huge studio supporting you, it doesn't matter. You can just grab a camera and make something happen. And so obviously I give leeway for these films when it comes to like production design or when it comes to visual effects because they don't have big studios supporting them. But I've seen so many of this style of film that are so well executed and that really hit all the marks to make it an engaging and entertaining experience. And so this was one that kind of escaped me. I didn't know a whole lot about other than a few reviews I read, and I'm excited to tell you about it today. And the film I'm going to be discussing with you is Death of a Vlogger. Death of a Vlogger is directed by Graham Hughes. An ambitious vlogger experiences the dark side of the internet when his latest video, which features an alleged haunting, goes viral. So, I didn't know much about this movie at all, other than I read some positive reviews about it, and I've seen people recommend it when it comes to this genre of filmmaking. And I thought this movie was awesome. I really was impressed with this film. There are a lot of found footage mockumentary movies I've heard talked about a lot in the space, in the horror community. This is one I have not heard mentioned as much, and I'm really surprised because I think it is incredibly effective at being a found footage mockumentary horror film, but it's also incredibly effective at being a larger commentary on like influencer and internet culture. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. At the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Graham, who is an internet vlogger who does all these pranks and these goofy videos. His channel has quite a large following, and at some point on his channel, he is required to get some sort of eye procedure done. I can't remember if it's LASIK or what it is, but whatever happens when he gets this procedure, it temporarily blinds him for 24 hours. And we're introduced to his friend Aaron, who it's implied through the film there could be something more there. They could be dating. It's never 100% explicitly said. And he sets up a camera to do a 24-hour live stream while he's at home blinded. And he's like, oh, this will be fun. People will get a lot out of it. And so he sets that up at his apartment. And when he sets the camera up and Aaron ends up leaving, all this weird paranormal stuff starts to happen. You see a shadow in the frame, a coffee cup moves, I think an art piece gets knocked off the wall, and the video goes completely viral. People are like, oh my God, is this proof that there's a haunting? Could this possibly be real? We get a little bit more from Graham when he starts researching about the apartment and finding out about things that happened at his apartment building beforehand. And shortly after, he decides to meet up with another YouTuber named Steve. And Steve on his YouTube channel does a lot when it comes to paranormal investigating, and he likes to look into hauntings. And so him and Graham decide to start working together to find out whether or not his apartment is haunted. And so the entire film is us watching the two of them try to discover whether or not the apartment is haunted, while at the same time being introduced with information from a third party that is trying to say the entire thing has been faked and that none of it is real. So as I said, I really liked this movie a lot. I think it's incredibly thought-provoking and really interesting, especially when it comes to the online internet influencer culture, while also being genuinely terrifying in moments. I really like this style of film because obviously it's a vlogger working on YouTube, so you'll see like light setup in the house and all the things that you would get from a person recording on YouTube. And the camera movement is rough around the edges, right? It's someone setting up on a tripod or just kind of setting a camera here or there. But what I love is that in these types of movies, normally, unless it's like a shaky cam with someone like running through a field or running through a house, normally the camera is static. You're setting it somewhere and you're requiring the audience to stare at something for a very long period of time. And what I really liked about this movie is there are so many moments where the camera is shooting wide, where you see an entire room where, like, if you look at me in the camera space, I'm here and I have a wall behind me, but in the film, you have the entire space of the apartment in the background. So you'll have like an open door over here, you'll see into another room, and although the actor in the front of you is giving some kind of dialogue, that allows for the camera to capture something going on behind them, but you have to be paying really close attention to detail because there's not a ton of score or sound effects in this movie. Create like artificial fear, right? One of the things about horror films is a horror movie that can utilize score to accompany something truly scary is an effective horror film. And a horror film that has to completely and totally rely on the score to be able to scare you isn't as much. And what I liked about this movie is the number of moments where they just let the camera do the work and you're staring at something that's horrifying. There are some moments where they do the loud boom sound effect that it's a little bit cliche, but I would say those moments are less than the moments where the camera really does the work. I really liked all the actors in this. Obviously, these aren't big name Hollywood actors, but they were able to perfectly fit their roles to where their chemistry felt very natural. I really liked they introduced this third party person who's someone who debunks paranormal investigators, and I really liked her character and the way that she was incorporated in the film. A lot of times when you do these mockumentary style movies, you'll get those excess characters that don't feel like they add a whole lot to the story. She was incredibly charismatic and personable in a way that I really enjoyed. She added to the overall experience of the film, which in this type of a circumstance is necessary. As I said, I thought the movie was genuinely scary. There's some moments where you get that cliche of like a character with the hair over the face running around, which in this type of a film is excusable because of where the story goes, and I really liked where the story went in this. But I think the thing about this movie that impressed me so much is the larger commentary on influencer culture. Our lead character is in this situation where he's investigating this paranormal phenomena. Then he gets called out by this person and saying that none of it's real and that it's all been faked. And when he's called out by the general public, he starts to struggle and he starts to fall into a depressive episode to where he's just struggling to get by through the day to day. And then things start happening in his apartment, and it's like, okay, he's just been called out for this being fake, but now there's things going on that are seemingly real. And the entire film, for the whole hour and a half, even at the very end of the movie, leaves you questioning, is this real or did they make the whole thing up to get internet clicks? And I think it's so fascinating in this day and age that we live in. There's even a whole like apology video sequence where like he comes out and apologizes for the accusations of all of it being fake and the people that he hurts with his content. And it really just shows how in this culture of YouTube and TikTok and all this social media where you can essentially develop a career being online, but you're exposing every element of your personal life, especially these vloggers who do like day-to-day in the life videos. You really don't leave anything to privacy. You're kind of putting your whole self out there, and by putting your whole self out there, you're leaving yourself to be exposed to the general public and to be called out by the general public. And I really liked that element of this movie, was that it wasn't just a horror movie, it was really a reflection on what it is to be an influencer, and are people willing to ignore the truth and just put something out there in order to get a guttural reaction or to get views from people. And I loved that there's so many sequences that just introduce new topics to get your mind going about the whole idea of what it is to be an internet influencer, to be in that space. And obviously I'm just someone who does movie reviews, but like even posting movie reviews online, you can get really heinous comments about just sharing your opinion. People get passionate about something, or if people strongly disagree, they're willing to just trash you even though they don't know who you are as a person. They're willing to just kind of destroy you and throw you under the bus if you disagree with them about something, rather than having a legitimate conversation. And I thought that was really interesting too, was the way that like hate comments and that really mean-spirited nature of the internet came through. And it was just a really fascinating and interesting film. Obviously, it's a little rough around the edges. It's not perfectly paced. I think there are some moments that can feel a little bit repetitive in this type of a movie, where once it starts to fall into some of the cliches of this style. It lost me a little bit, but I think overall, the idea that the movie is trying to convey and the way that it conveys its ideas kept me engaged from the very first frame. And I was so entertained by this movie. It's streaming for free on Tubi right now. You just have to watch some ads. And if you're into the found footage mockumentary genre, or even if you're not, this movie is really thought provoking and engaging in a way that I think even if this isn't your preferred style, you'll find something to enjoy about it. So have you seen Death of a Vlogger? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really well done. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining and engaging. I thought the performances were really good. It just really took me by surprise. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to get more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.